Alright, what's going on, kids, people of the internet? We got our July book haul here. It's much smaller than we have usually done because we've been saving money. Because as you know, Pulp Fest, bada bing, bada boom, is coming up this weekend. So we saved our money so we could spend a lot of money at Pulp Fest. So this is a smaller haul. A lot of it is actually books gifted to us. Very, very generous people that we will give shout outs to as we get through it. We're very excited for Pulp Fest. Who is excited for Pulp Fest? You are, we are. It's going to be so cool to meet Jake, Tim, and Brian, and Dave, Paul, and Ben, even though I've met Ben already. But we're going to meet him in person. We're going to hang out and kick it. We're going to kick the shit. We're going to do videos, maybe. Who knows? It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. We wish you all could be there. There's still time. You can still go. Can't stay at the hotel where it's at. That's all booked up, but you can still go. There's other hotels in the area. You have some Pulp Fest things planned. Obviously, we're going to take lots of footage, and I think we're going to do a live Eebs from Pulp Fest. I've talked to Jack, one of the organizers of Pulp Fest. We're going to do an interview there. I don't know if I'm going to do it live or am I just going to record it, put it together, put it back together when we get home, make it all fancy. I don't know. Stay tuned, because that will be happening in some shape or form in the future. So, speaking of meeting people in real life, we had some friends come into town, some friends that we made here on YouTube, and that would be Bob Freeman, a cult detective, and his wife, Kim, came to town to hang out with us, to eat veggie burgers. Let's go book shopping. And like I've mentioned before, Grammaticus, Ben, was pretty close, so I texted Ben. I said, hey, Bob's coming to town. Ben said, I'm there, baby. I'll be there. So everyone converged at the house. We got this really rad picture right here. We were trying to decide where to take the picture, and they're like, oh, in front of the books, obviously. And then we stood in front of my bookcase, and this is the heavyweight division. We covered it up completely. So, just so you know, just so you get an idea how big these heavyweights are, I am 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. So look at these two. Look at these two animals. Look at these two gentle giants. Yeah, so yeah, we got to hang out for a minute. Ben only came to the house to hang out and then had to take off, unfortunately. And then me and my wife, Izzy, and Bob and his wife, Kim, all went to Yellow Springs, had a nice lunch, went to Dark Star Books and Comics, or Comics and Books. I always forget which one it is, which way it's worded. And it was a blast. So when Bob came into town, he came bearing gifts. He came from the distant land of Indiana bearing gifts. And what are those gifts? They're right here. This Vampereella comic, Dead Flowers. And you're probably wondering, well, why would Bob bring you a Vampereella comic? It's because he wrote it. Bob Freeman wrote this Vampereella comic. He also drew this cover. He drew the cover of the first two in the series. There's 4. So he did this in collaboration with Sarah Frazetta, because he works with the Frazetta name industry. What do you call that? The Frazetta people on different projects. And one of them is this here Vampereella comic book put out by Dynamite. How cool is that? He signed it for us. Look at that. Did you know that? Did you know that Bob Freeman wrote a Vampereella? You know, he's a very humble guy. I'm sure he's mentioned it on the channel, but if I wrote a Vampereella, you would know about it because I would shut up about it. So Bob's more of a reserved fella, so he probably didn't spout off like I would have, but I'm here to spout off for him. Look at that. Look at this cover he drew. That's gorgeous. Man, who gets the opportunity to write a Vampereella comic? Yeah, this is amazing. And it blew my wife's mind because she loves Vampereella. She collects all the originals and buys the new ones. And to have the author, our friend, bring us Vampereella comics that he wrote. How cool is that? Dead flowers. Send me dead flowers in the morning. I don't know if he actually got that from the Rolling Stones song. I'm sorry I just sang that. Ben also came to town bearing gifts. He picked this out specifically for me when he was out shopping. And it is Colin McInnes. It is Westward to Laughter. Look at how tiny they wrote the title there. The author's name. Little tiny title. So this is a novel of slavery and piracy. What else does it say? A full-blooded novel of slavery, piracy, and high adventure. Look at that. That's beautiful. This is a UK. It's the Panther. It's the Panther edition. You don't find those often here in the States. And you know what? Like you, I have a big old giant stack of TBR books that I need to get to. So I don't usually start reading books as soon as I get them. But I was sitting in the living room. I'm watching TV. I think the episode of Charmed end. And I was like, well, I don't want to get up. And I was like, oh, look, Ben's book. I wonder what this is. So I picked it up and I was like, I'm going to read a couple pages of it. And I was hooked. I was immediately hooked. And I ended up reading it. I have one chapter left. There's my, my bookmark, by the way. What does that say? Vintage SF. I'm sure Richard would appreciate being in this book here, this piracy slavery book. So yeah, Richard sent me bookmarks. How cool is that? From Canada. This is a Canadian bookmark from Richard sent to me. What a guy. So yeah, this book is it's what is so good about it? You know, it's about when they say slavery, they're not kidding. It is some kind of difficult to read stuff. I thought there was gonna be, when I'm reading it, okay, so here's how it went. I started reading it and I was like, whoa, this is like heavy slavery type stuff and it's not cool. And I was like, well, you know what? I bet there's gonna be like a big uprising. You know, this is gonna be fighting for their freedom. There's gonna be some retribution and it's gonna be beautiful, violent vengeance. So that kind of got me hooked in the beginning because I wanted to see it, because it upset me so much at the beginning that I wanted to see it go and get to that point where they had the revenge. That doesn't quite happen, though. There are some slavers who get chopped up into bits, man. But this is a really exciting book. It's historic. It takes place in the Caribbean. And there's all kinds of slaves. There's the main character is this white kid who becomes a slave. And it's his experiences. He's 17, he's inexperienced, and he gets thrown into this life. And it's a story about growing up. It really is. And just this idea he has of the world and the situations that he's put into and how it changes him. And it's not only this like deep kind of thing, which it is, but man, is it fucking exciting. It never lets up. It goes from one scenario to the next. This dude travels from the escapes plantations out into the wild, commandeers boats, becomes a pirate, just all kinds of just great stuff, man. This is a great fucking book. 5 stars. All right, and then we got what we got at Dark Star. So this is the little bit of money we did spend. And this is, my wife picked this up, The Voodoo Queen by Robert Talent. Hopefully he lives up to his namesake. So that's beautiful, huh? Beautiful hardcover. The Voodoo Queen, which paid $8. And it looks, it's about Marie Laveau. So this is a fictional, so I guess historical also, about the infamous Marie Laveau, who, if you don't know, was the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. I don't know what era, back in the day. I know that there's a story of the Misfits playing a show in New Orleans, and they go to her grave at night. They're trying to find Marie Laveau's grave, and they end up getting arrested. So the Misfits arrested in a graveyard, and had a bunch of local kids with them, a bunch of local punks, and one of the local punks was a 15-year-old Mike from I Hate God. How rad is that? I Hate God and the Misfits hanging out together, getting arrested in a cemetery. All right, so this is one of my want lists. I have a want list. Okay, let's be serious here. But it's not huge. I usually just enjoy looking at everything and randomly picking stuff, discovering stuff. But this one was on my list, and it's Where Beasts of Hell. I finally completed the trilogy, the Ace of Drake Sword and Sorcery trilogy. This thing is supposedly the most metal Sword and Sorcery series that's ever existed, and the black metal band Bathory wrote a song about this series. That's how tough it is. So usually this book is $50 online. It's way overpriced for some reason. These two, $10, $5 you can get online. For this one, for some reason, expensive. So they had them as a series. They had them as a package deal, so I had to buy all three. It was $35. So I did get a deal, because it's cheaper than it was online still. So, and I did get these two also. Now, what am I going to do with them? What am I going to do with these doubles? Well, look at that. Look at how metal that is. You know who these should go to, right? You already know. You already know the answer. It's Tim. Secret Fire Books, I'm just going to hand these off to Tim, because he needs these, because he's the sword and sorcery guy. So he said in his last video. That's his thing. That's his niche. He's getting back to it. Back to his roots. And then I picked up two more. I got this John Dixon Carr Gothic. So it's a Gothic horror? Yeah. So it's a Gothic horror. The Burning Court. John Dixon Carr is a famous mystery author from the early 1900s. So this might just be repackaged as Gothic, as they did in the era of the 60s. I don't know until I read it, but it looked mighty fine, and I had to pick it up. And lastly, I got this Devil's Bride, Seabury Quinn, Jules de Grandin. I kind of slagged the Jules de Grandin story in that Weird Tales review that I did. I wasn't that impressed. But Jeff's Cave of Cool Books assures me that this is good stuff. And honestly, I just could not pass that up. It's $15 there. I'm sure you can see that. Very occult. Actually, the back cover says The Occult Hercule Poirot. So that is nice. That was a nice find. So those are the few of the score that I paid for this month. All right, what's next? Up next, I came home and there was an Amazon package, and I looked at my wife and I said, "What did you order?" And she said, "I didn't order anything." And what was in there was for me, and it was from Starkhouse, of this review copy. Nothing Darker Than the Night. Essays on hard-boiled and noir crime fiction by Curtis Evans. So this is a new release that's going to be coming out from Starkhouse. Nonfiction reference resource book about hard-boiled fiction. They probably were watching some of my videos and were like, "Man, this guy needs some help. Send this boy some help." That's what I'm assuming, anyway. I don't know. So what it has is essays on the history of hard-boiled, and it starts here with Dashiell Hammett, and the essays are short snippets. I like that. I like to jump around. And then it has the influence of Hammett on other authors. Then it goes into Chandler and Ross McDonald and Gore Vidal. And then part 2 is the noir, which I'm kind of interested to see how they differentiate it. What makes it hard-boiled and what makes it noir? What's the difference? Pedantic people, do you know the answer already? I'm sure you do. Put it in the comments. You were already typing it, weren't you? I didn't even have to say that. So yeah, this section is Woolrich, Brown, Frederick Brown, Jim Thompson, Patricia Highsmith. Yeah, and then a bunch of just short essays. This is very interesting. I'm very excited to be able to have this reference material. Soon to be out from Starkhouse. There's Curtis Evans right there. He said, check out my book, guys. It's great. I did a lot of work on it. Got a little embarrassed on that one. So my wife did order a book. It wasn't from Amazon. I don't remember where she got it. This is Kacina. This is a Native American horror, which, god damn it, I love it. It's about a Kacina doll. Comes to life. This is by Catherine Patasic. We have a couple of her books. I haven't read any yet. To see the Kacina breathing and walking toward her. To see the Kacina lift her half mask. And to see the Kacina's face painted with blood. Not of beast, but of man. Terrified, she awakes and reassures herself. They're only dreams, aren't they? Man, I want to read this sucker. She's reading it right now. I'll have to read it after her. She's on page 18. I didn't get a review from her, so I don't know yet. I don't know if it's any good. All right, then we got some more mail. We got some more books gifted to us. And one of them, actually both of them, are people who watch the YouTube videos. And they said, hey man, I'm going to freaking send you some books. And I said, hell yes. Hell yes. Actually, this first one is a trade. They wanted a book graveyard shirt. And I shipped it to them, and they shipped me books. What a trade, what a trade. And that is NZ Bookmark. That's Mark from New Zealand. So I shipped the one and only book graveyard shirt in New Zealand. Mark owns it. And he sent me books. I love it. I appreciate it. My man, Mark, you the man. Thank you so much. And they're all non-US editions, which, you know, I like to freak out about. So first up, speaking of Ross McDonald, look at that. Look at that Ross McDonald. That is the coolest looking Ross McDonald book I own. This was Fontana. This is a Fontana book. The Chill. I don't know this one. The Unwilling Bride. Let me go, fatso, the girl screamed. The detective said, you speak with some respect to your old man. Nice. So it's got a snippet. It doesn't have a synopsis. A snippet, not a synopsis. Whoa. It's the first time I really looked at that cover. That's creepy. It almost looks like a horror book. Then I've been mentioning Robert Van Gulick, Judge D, a lot lately. So he sent me this Panther crime band, which I have never ever seen before in the States. The only reason I know this exists is because of Jules Burt, video on the Panther crime band books. So very stoked to have this. Robert Van Gulick wrote a mystery series, Judge D, if you don't know. Basically, Robert Van Gulick was a historian, and he was into Asian culture, and he moved to China. And when he was studying ancient texts, he found stories of this Judge D character, like mystery stories from the era, from like 1600s. And I believe the first one is a collected anthology of those original stories that he put out. But then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep writing the character. So he started writing new Judge D stories. And that's what that is. So hell to the yes, sir. Hell to the yes. Always a fan of getting yellow box great pans. I've only found 2 in like 8 years. And look at this one, Edgar Allan Poe. He said he sent it to me because I said in a video that I had never read it before. And I got to tell you, with this kind of cover, that's very enticing. It's enticing me to check it out. Sometimes the stories that are written longer ago, more than 100 years ago, I'm kind of apprehensive, but how can I not read Edgar Allan Poe? And I know I also got to read that Sherlock Holmes. I still haven't read Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, that's wonderful. Great cover. Great cover. The great pans. And he knows, oh man. And he knows I'm a fan of James Bond. And this was very exciting for me because the yellow box pan. Yeah, the yellow box pan from Russia with Love, Ian Fleming. I know it's not the first, but it's one that I will never have if he didn't send it to me. Look at that great cover. Oh man, that's beautiful. This is probably my second favorite of the James Bond books that I've read so far. The best is Dr. No. If you're going to start James Bond and you've only seen the movies and you're like, where's a good place to start? Read Dr. No. It's very men's adventure because it's over the top. It's crazy. There's giant squids and shit in it. It's awesome. But From Russia with Love is a lot different than the movie because I think I already reviewed it on the channel. Maybe I didn't review it, but the perspective is from the killer that's going after James Bond for like half of the book. And then the other half is regular James Bond. And he also sent me Casino Royale. Look at that beautiful cover. Man, I love that. Wow. I never thought that I would get any of these unless I went to England. But I don't know, the way you England booktubers talk about it, you guys say that it's hard to find used books there unless you go to Zardoz. And then he sent this one for my wife because I'm always saying how much she loves witchcraft stuff. And I just think that's amazing that he sent one for my wife because she's here. She's always around. She's always a part of this, even though she's not on camera. So yeah, she really appreciated it. Thank you, Mark. This is a Corgi nonfiction. Witness to Witchcraft. Witch Doctor Medicine. Amazon Childbirth. Trial by Witchcraft. Fetishes and Sacrifices. Raising the Dead. The Initiation of Virgins. The Ordeal by Ants. Science and the Evil Eye. The Chris Dance of Suicide. Snake Curse. And other exotic examples of witchcraft in the primitive places of the world. Nice. Very nice. So thank you, Mark. And then the last 2 books here are from my man, Steve Nagin, who likes to send me books because he thinks it's funny. So we got another Hawk, another edition, the Hawk. But it's not the Hawkman's Adventure, but it's a different Hawkman's Adventure. This is more of a crime, I believe. So he sent it to me because he thought it was funny, because it's a Hawk. He's sending me every Hawk book he sees. And it says, they call him Hawker. Hawker Lane plays the action hot and fast. He's loyal to his friends, cool with his women, and ruthless against his enemies. And I don't know if this is the Hawker series. I don't know if it's related to that. There's a men's adventure series called Hawker. Or if this is just a standalone. I don't know. I didn't look it up before I started this video. But what's funny is, even though he sent it as a joke, I have been really into sports crossovers, whether it's crime or horror or whatever. Sports and pulp, right? And this author was a journalist, a sports journalist, and he wrote this novel. That I looked up, but not whether it's Hawker. I didn't. I don't know. And so this has a sports element to it. It's football. It's my least favorite. I mean, golf, but is that a sport? No. So yeah, so it's football based, and it looks, I don't know, it looks scandalous. It looks fun. 70s. It's got a fucking turtleneck on, and this big old belt. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. It's not a joke. It's not a joke, Steve. This is serious business. And then this one is very much a joke. The Groundskeeper and the Lady. So on my blog, if you look at the profile, the name is The Groundskeeper. And for a while I had it as the email name too, but I changed it to my real name. But it used to say Groundskeeper. So have you ever seen one of these out and about and you're like, what are these books? They're so lame, they don't have a cover. A classical novel. Is this like Shakespeare? Is that what this is? Kind of. This is smut. This is honest to God smutty smut. It's not sleaze. It's hardcore. And it's from the 1969, so this is like, you know, Letters to Hustler. This is that type of smut. And he thought it was funny, and it is. It is by Hamlin Gage, I'm sure that's his real name, with an introduction by Albert G. Lowen, Ph.D. Wonder what he's got to say. So I open it up, and it's hardcore, man. It is some hardcore stuff. And that's our book haul. That's all we got going for today. And we will see you at Pulp Fest. We're out of here.